Today's class is about how to help your child stop stealing. The child you love, whether your child, your relative, your student. The goal is at the end of the day, you should be able to help the child you love stop stealing, and you should also be able to empower parents who may be worried that their children are becoming juvenile delinquents to help their children to stop stealing. My name is Enimien Oruebor, and if you are new here, yay! Thank you for finding me and thank you for joining me. You want to watch this video from the beginning to the end. You want to subscribe, you want to share, you want to like, you want to leave a comment, ask your questions. You want to check our previous videos. They are very empowering and transformational. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you. Thank you so much. This is possible because of you, and I do appreciate you. Also, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section so that more parents can actually get this video, and what I do here, what we do here can reach more parents. Thank you. Welcome back. It is how to help your child stop stealing with Enimien Oruebor on parenting with Enimien Oruebor. Now, apart from the fact that we always want to correct these children, want to modify behaviors because we do not want them to grow into adulthood, we also want to be able to trust our children. And when a child steals, it becomes not so easy for you to want to trust them, for you to want to readily protect them. You actually want to step back and want to be sure before you jump in, but excuse me, but when you know that you can absolutely trust your child, it's easier for you to just come forward and say no is a no for my child. So it is important that we are able to trust our children, and it's also important we are able to lay the foundation for them to grow into contented, responsible, and adult with integrity. This is why very many parents are concerned when their child starts pilfering, when their children start stealing. And so today, at the end of this video, you are going to learn how to help your child to stop stealing and how to help your child not to even steal at all. So let's go into it. Firstly, why do children steal? Is it a learned behavior or an instinctive behavior? When children are much younger, they don't know boundaries, and they are daring, they are impulsive. So when they like something, they don't even know it doesn't belong to them. They don't know about property rights. When they like something, they just go for it and they grab it. That is when they are much younger. So as they grow older, they become 3 years, it's time for parents to start teaching them about property rights, start teaching them about boundaries. That is why when my kids are much younger, for example, I make sure everybody has their thing. You have your plate, you have your spoon, you have your stuff, you have your corner and everything. That way they're understanding boundaries, they're understanding territory, they're understanding property rights and all of that. So it's important parents note this thing and start from small. It's not going to come against you trying to build unity in your family. No, amongst your children, no. From when they are small, you teach them boundaries by having them understand everyone has their own thing, and you don't have any right to take what doesn't belong to you. So before you come and take my thing, you need to ask. Now, this is where it starts from. So from that point, when children understand boundaries, they are growing with it. So when children are much younger, they don't know boundaries. So you can't call that stealing. Toddlers, they are not stealing. They don't understand boundaries like I just explained. So you cannot say they are stealing. But when children begin to understand, okay, it is mine, and I need to use my magic words, I'm taking it, start asking, is not right. They begin to understand the difference between right and wrong. Then we cannot begin to call it stealing. Now, this is where parents need to come in to start setting the boundary. Now, this is where parents need to come in to start teaching the skills. Remember, I said when they are much younger, it is not stealing because they still do not understand. Everything to them is black and white. The second thing I want you to pay attention to, which is very important, is that for very many parents whose children steal, stealing is a nurtured behavior. No, I'm not saying parents just nurture their children with the intention of, oh, I want to raise a thief. I have never seen that. but they put system in place unintentionally that promotes that stealing in the children. Now, this is why if you have followed me long enough, you will know that I always say that very many things we do not align with our vision. Now, this is why you need to have a vision, and you need to get empowered to raise your child towards that vision. And this is what we do in my community, parenting accountability community. We have a vision and we are intentional about actualizing our vision. So it's not something we are winging. We have a template, we're having a manual, we're having a framework to help us realize our vision. Many parents do not want their children to steal, to be thieves, but they nurture them towards that path. And I'll explain. So now for very many parents, when their children are young, anything the child wants, the child gets. I see many parents, they spoil their children with, biscuits, sweets, money. The child cries, go and buy sweet. They are going to church, they are packing loads of biscuits all the time. The child is always chewing on something. The child is always eating. They buy bags of snacks for a month, or it doesn't last beyond a day or two. Now you are raising the child to be used to that lifestyle. So when the child grows older, and the parents, you are trying to minimize it, you're trying to reduce it, or something happens, you are not able to give the child access to as many snacks or as much, should I say, enjoyment as you used to. The child is already used to it. So the child wants to sustain that lifestyle you have created. Your system has created a certain lifestyle and your child wants to sustain that lifestyle. So what is your child going to do? They look for ways to sustain it. So if the snacks are not readily there for them to pick, if you're not always giving them money for them to go and buy snacks at the snap of the finger like you used to, they want to look for a way around it. So now, this is why I said very many parents, they nurture stealing in children. The children begin to steal. They go to shops, they lift items. They see money in your purse, they pick it because you have nurtured that lifestyle from the start. You didn't start early putting boundaries. Now, remember I said when the children are much younger, a lot of things go. But as they are becoming older, you realize that, hey, my child is already knowing right from wrong. I need to start putting system in place to realize the child I want, the vision, the child. I don't want to raise a thief, so I'm going to look at behaviors that will now encourage my child to steal in the future. And I want to put my foot down now and make sure I do not encourage these behaviors. Now, this is some of the things parents need to do so that they don't nurture stealing in their children. Like I said, very many parents nurture stealing in their children unintentionally. So you actually want to look at your big picture. I do not want to raise a thief today, tomorrow, or anytime in the future. So I want to put structure that will not help me, that will not nurture stealing in my children. Again, is one of the things we do in parenting accountability community. It's a place you definitely want to be because it's a place where parents with vision come together to set their goals and get empowered to raise the children in their big picture. Another thing I'd like to quickly talk about is that children also learn to steal. It's also a learned behavior. Children see other people steal and they get away with it, and they also want to do it. That is why your environment matters a great deal. What your child is exposed to matters a great deal. There are some cartoons that even portray stealing. I saw a cartoon one time, the gang, they stole for a good cause. Why would stealing be seen from a positive light? Such things, actually, they are modeling stealing to the children. So you want to be very sure of the environment, of what your child consumes, the people around and everything, because they can also encourage stealing in your child. So environment is a big deal. Parents, maybe the mom always stealing from your husband. You feel the kids are not watching. They are watching. You have a way of inflating prices of items and your kids are aware of it. You are modeling stealing to them. These children, they are watching. You may think they are not watching, they are not paying attention. They are actually watching and they're actually paying attention. A couple of days ago, I was talking to someone on the phone and I was telling the person about the need to network. I actually use the term for the person. I said, if you want to go alone, I heard somewhere that if you want to walk very fast, you want to go very fast, go alone. If you want to go very far, go with people. And yesterday, I didn't even know my kids were there paying attention. And yesterday, my son wasn't feeling too well, so he didn't go to school. I was recording a video here, and I was going to repeat the same thing, and he just repeated it with me, like, which simply means that what I said I did, he wasn't what I was telling someone on the phone that had no business with him, that he wasn't paying attention. He just grabbed it and it sunk into his brain. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes we feel that, oh, our children are not seeing us. They are seeing us. We think they are not learning. They are learning. Now, this is why you must wear your intentional cap when you are behaving wherever your child is. Whether you want to respond to your child, you want to respond to people around you, you must wear your intentional cap, your conscious cap. You must wear it, bearing in mind that your kids are watching, they are listening, they are learning. You are creating a lifestyle, you are teaching them something, you are patterning a lifestyle for them, and they are learning. So you may actually be teaching them directly or indirectly how to steal by words of your mouth, by your actions or your inactions. You are, like I mentioned, you inflate prices, fee, a lot of things. Your kids are there, they are aware. You think they are not aware, they are aware. They know these things. So when it gets to their turn, they are also going to look for sharp way to get things done, because it is what you have told them is normal, is the standard practice you have passed on to them through modeling. And again, what other people do, they also use their mouth to teach their children to go and steal, go and take that money from your daddy's purse. You know, go and take that money from your mommy's corner. Go and check if your daddy has the money in his pigeon hole, in his car or something. Go and take it. They see you take things without permission, without asking. They see sometimes deny these things you do. You think they are not learning. They are actually learning. You put money in you see money in your spouse's pocket. Maybe you are doing laundry or things like that. You pick them up. They are learning. You go to the grocery store to get things done. They give you change in excess. You do not return it. Your children, they are learning from you. They are watching you. They are learning. So a lot of parents actually model stealing to their children. You come back, you brag about how things happen, how you were able to do a sharp one on your colleague or something. They are watching, they are learning. You are teaching them about stealing. 101 is what you are teaching them. So if you are a parent and your child is stealing or something, you want him or her to stop, you need to pause and ask yourself. You need to reflect. You need to watch my video of yesterday of recreating your parenting style, so that you can recreate your parenting style and make sure it aligns with your vision at the end of the day. So stealing can be taught deliberately or unintentionally to children through modeling and other indirect way of teaching. Now, the fourth thing I want you to take note of, is it the fourth or the fifth? I want you to take note of is that just like every other behavior, stealing doesn't happen in vacuum. There is a trigger. There is a factor that influences your child stealing. Now, stealing doesn't define your child. Of course, unless you label your child it's a thief. Stealing doesn't define your child. However, what may define your child is a triggering factor if not dealt with. If you want to deal with stealing on the surface, then stealing may go or may not go, but that underlying factor may define your child. Now, if you have followed me long enough, you know that I am big on root cause. Now, this is why I talk about temperament. This is why I talk about nurturing. This is why I talk about recreating your parenting style, because there is always a motivation, always a root cause for every behavior a child exhibits, even an adult. And stealing is not an exception. I'll share a quick story. When I was much younger, I grew up with my grandma in the village. If you read my book, Understanding Your Child, or you have followed me long enough, you will see that I always share the story. I think I even shared it yesterday in my class, in Parenting and Accountability Community. You really want to come to that class. You really want to be part of Parenting and Accountability Community. We are doing amazing things there. So I grew up with my grandma in the village, and when I was in JSS 2 to 3 or thereabouts, I had these friends in school who were trading. They would buy items from the markets, and then they will come to school, they will sell. to their friends, and their friends will buy it. So I kind of liked the idea, and I wanted to also sell things to my friends to make money. I already had seen myself as a billionaire, seen myself as buying cars, buying nice things, because I had done the math. So however, I needed capital to start my business, and being a GSS 2-3 girl, I didn't have money, and there was no idea of how to get money, and I wasn't even going to ask my grandma because it definitely wasn't an option. So one day my auntie came to visit, and she brought some money for my grandma. I think about 1,000 naira or thereabout. So my grandma put it under the bed. So when my grandma left, I said, okay, fine, this is an opportunity for me. I'm not going to miss this opportunity for anything in the world. So I went there, I grabbed the money. I didn't take all the money. I think 20 naira or 200 naira. I don't remember. I took a bit of the money, and I went to the market. It was a distance, a long distance. I went to the market. I bought my items. I came to school to sell, and my friends bought on credit, and for them to pay became wahala. They did not pay. So I didn't do my market survey. I didn't realize that those that sold and got back their money had a way of doing their thing. They had a network or something. And me, I wasn't that kind. I wasn't so much of a person, a people's person who was everywhere. So I really didn't have friends who I could rely on to buy. But then those classmates bought, and they did not pay. Whoa, by then I was already indebted to my grandma. How was I going to return that money? Where was I going to get that money from? I had no idea. So I thought a very wise idea came to me. I said, okay, why don't I take another money? I'll go to the market and buy. This time around, I will not sell on credit. I'll make sure they gave him my money while I sold to them. Then I'll now use the profit and the capital to replace my grandma's money. That was the idea. And I actually went further to do the same thing. Unfortunately, this time around, they did not even buy. They didn't buy because they had their choice friends to buy from, and they did not buy from me. And that was how I ended up not being able to pay my grandma her money. Ended up not having money to pay my grandma. I remember back then I had a friend who some of my friends were already dating, and an idea occurred to me. Why don't I go and start having a boyfriend, probably have sex with them, and then because I knew then that boyfriends used to give girlfriends money. So it actually crossed my mind. Why don't I go and have a boyfriend, and then they will not give me money. I'll use the money to pay back my grandma. That idea was in my head for a very long time. Just that I didn't have the courage, the fear of getting pregnant then. Even though I didn't know about it, because then what I had was, if a boy touches your stomach, put his stomach on your stomach, you get pregnant. So the fear of having them put their stomach on my stomach and me getting pregnant was what stopped me from actually going through that route to get money to pay back my grandma. What am I trying to say? At the end of the day, I was branded a thief. I was taken back to my parents in Benin City. My grandma beat me, rubbed grinded pepper and mixed with water on my eyes and all of that. Of course, I was a thief. That was what I did. I stole. That was it. And she treated me the way she knew how to treat thieves, or how to treat a thief. Did I steal? Yes. Did I intend to steal? No. I intended to borrow the money. There was a root cause, which was to do what my friends were doing. Peer pressure. To buy fancy car with selling sweets and chewing gum. At the level I was then, that was the much I knew. Peer pressure was the root cause. So for every children's behavior, especially when your child is becoming a teenager, you will know that there is a root cause for their behaviors. Like I've shared, much younger children, it is instinctive. They are not stealing because they want to steal. No, it's just something they just do. For other children, it is a nurtured behavior. And for some children, it is a taught behavior. And now, for this final stage of stealing in children, it is not, okay, this is not even the final stage, because there's another one that is impulsive. It can be an impulsive behavior too. So I'll get to that. I really didn't want this video to be too long, but if it's too long, you bear with me. You realize, you agree that it's value packed. So I need to exhaust everything, but I'll be fast. So for this, there is a factor that triggered it. If only my parent had known that, okay, this child wasn't stealing because she wanted to steal. There was something responsible for why she was stealing. Probably I was an entrepreneur in the making that they did not even notice. Probably that was even a gift. They probably would have said, okay, let's nurture this entrepreneurial in her, you know, or let's begin to talk to her about peer pressure, about the need not to do what your friends are doing, about the need to find your path. Let's even begin to tell her that, okay, you want to start a business, there are other options, not stealing your grandma's money. You can also do freelancing, help people that sell, make your money, start saving up your money to go and start your own. I probably would have been empowered entrepreneurially right from time if only they had not labeled me a thief and treated me as a thief. So you want to sit and ask yourself, what is the triggering factor? What is responsible for the stealing behavior of that teenager, of that preteen you have that you are worried about? What is responsible? Lifestyle is one of them. People around you have nice things, have fancy things I want to have, can make them steal. My friends are always buying lunch in school. I want to buy lunch too, can make them steal. Oh, my friends, the guy in school that has the most money, that buys food for people, is the most popular guy. He's loved. I want to be loved. So I want to steal, to be loved, to show off. I want to show off. Oh, there's something trending. People are buying it. I want to buy it. I want to prove a point to people. I even want to show that I am brave. I can steal. There are a lot of factors. Oh, I have a girl I'm liking. I want to buy her a gift. It's a Valentine's Day. Everybody's paying for the party. I want to pay for the party. There are lots of triggering factors that will influence children to steal. Another one is maintaining an addictive habit, like gambling. Yes, children who have been exposed to gambling, who live in an environment where people gamble, they are likely going to take to the gambling habits. And guess what? They will need money to finance that gambling addiction, that gambling habit. So they will steal. Now, these are some of the reasons why people steal. Now, remember, I think I've mentioned 4 reasons already. I've told you that from toddlerhood is not stealing is because they do not understand boundaries. That's lack of skill. Let's call that lack of skill. They do not understand boundary. And I've told you the other one is some children are nurtured to steal. You nurture them unintentionally. You create a system that promotes them to steal. I've talked about some children are stealing is modeled to some children. Some children learn to steal by the environment and all of that. Now, the last one I'm talking about, peer pressure. Now, one of the reasons, again, children steal is because of lack of impulse control, lack of self-discipline. They cannot hold back. And just like a child is doing dishes in the kitchen and they sees a bowl of chicken on the burner, they quickly put in their mouth, you know, because they cannot hold back. They cannot resist the urge to wait. They have not been nurtured with delay to have delayed gratification. They don't know how to wait. They don't have self-discipline. So children steal because of lack of self-discipline, and it's very common. This is one of the commonest factors why children steal. The same reason why children who were not taught to steal, because they have not been taught self-discipline. They have not been taught to hold back. Mommy, I want sweets. They've not been taught to say no. The parents have not created a structure, a routine. No, you are not having sweet now. You have sweet once a day. Parent did not create that. I want sweet. Oh yeah, give them sweet. I want ice cream. Oh yeah, ice cream is there. I met a parent one day who told me that, what am I working for? It's enough for my children. And she said, how much is ice cream that I don't buy for them when they ask? Imagine that. So if you keep giving to your child wants and demand, it simply means that you are not teaching your child to be able to stop and hold back. You're not teaching them self-discipline. So at the end of the day, your child is not going to learn self-discipline to say no in the face of temptation. So when there's temptation, something calling him to steal, he's going to steal it because you have not taught him self-discipline. You have not taught him to control his impulse. And guess what? So many situations are going to come that are going to be tempting. He's going to see a classmate barrel that is very fine. He's going to be tempted to take it. He's going to see a piece of chicken. He's going to be tempted to take it. He's going to see his classmate comes with a lot of sweet in her bag, and he's going to be tempted to take it. And then they all come to you, and you are freaking out. No, you have not taught your child impulse control. So it is very, very important you teach them impulse control, self-discipline. They cannot have it now, all the time. No, they can wait for the time that is designed to have it. It is called structure. And I have a book on structure that will help you structure your parenting, everything about your parenting. Your routine, behaviors, habits you want them to form. I have a book on parenting structure. It's just 2,000 naira, and for my pack community, they get it at a much discounted price. So if you want, you need to get a book on structure, and you need to come to and be part of Pack family. I don't know what you're waiting for, really. If you are not in Pack, you are missing out. You are missing a great deal. And Pack is is surprisingly very affordable. You just register with 10,000 naira and you are subscribing with 2,000 naira every month for 1 whole year, and that is all for Pack. So please do yourself a favor and run to join Pack right now. You can also get my parenting structure, and I'll put you through on how to use it. So your child, you can structure your child to be disciplined. Now, the last reason I'll tell you why children steal, I've talked about peer pressure. Yes, it's because they get away with it. A friend of mine who is, not a friend, an acquaintance who is married to the husband's, he's married to her elder brother's wife's brother. So it means 2 siblings married 2 siblings. First siblings, biological siblings, they married each other. And one day I was asking her, how does that even make sense? And she said, in our place, there's something they say that if a road is beautiful, you can take it twice. So it's allowed in their place that if you marry from a family, it's favorable, you can marry there again. So I want to liken it to children stealing. When they steal and they are not caught, they get away with it. It's a beautiful experience. They want to steal again. Now, this is why when you notice a misbehavior in your children, you do not pay a blind eye. You must get it dealt with. You must use consequences for your child's misbehavior. So when the child steals, make sure you are dealing with it. And there was something that I forgot to mention. Some children also steal because they are pressured to steal. This falls under there's a trigger. There's a motivation for stealing because they are pressured to steal. Someone may be blackmailing them. When I say blackmailing, maybe someone may be like emotionally blackmailing them. Like we've seen very many cases of this where the boy tells the girl, I will not be your boyfriend again, because the girl lacks self-esteem. The girl doesn't have enough love in this family, in her home. She actually craves the love of a boy, and the boy encourages her to go and steal the parents' property. We've seen that several times. It happens to boys also, because they want to belong to a particular group or something. They are stealing. The people they are encouraging them to go and steal. There is always, this also boils down to motivation. There's a motivation, there's a factor you need to understand. Like I said, when you understand the root cause, it's easier for you to fix it. So now let's look at how to help our children stop stealing. Now, the first thing you want to know is that for every behavior, there's a root cause. I've talked about that already. And for you to address a behavior in totality, you must address it from the root cause. I've also talked about that already. Now, for every behavior a child exhibits or anybody exhibits, there are options. There are always options. For example, someone like a man who was abusive towards his wife once told me that she pushed me, and I told him, no, you always have options. You have very many options to walk away, to remain there and keep quiet, to hit her, you have options. So you choose the one you choose, so you take responsibility. Same thing happens to your child. If your child chooses to steal, in no matter the situation, he can say, oh, I was hungry, that's why I stole. That's the triggering factor, that's the motivating factor. Hunger made him to steal. But for that hunger, there were options to stealing. There were the options of going to beg for food. There was the option of stealing. There was the option of staying hungry. There was the option of looking for crumbs or remnant to eat. There was the option. There are always options. So for every option a person chooses, it simply means it's either they do not have the skills to choose, they are not knowledgeable enough, they are not aware of the other options they have, or even though they are aware, they don't have the skills for the other options. Like I shared a bit of my story. What options did I have? What was my triggering factor? My triggering factor was wanting to do a business and make money like my friends were doing it. That was my triggering factors. Now, what options did I have? Like I mentioned, I had the option of telling my grandma to borrow me some money. I had the option of telling my friends to borrow me some money. I had the option of of not even doing the business at all, giving it up. I had the option of of freelancing, taking from my friends and selling. And I had the option of stealing. I had all these options, but I was not aware of the other options because I was not knowledgeable enough to be aware of the other options. You get my picture? So I picked the option I was aware of. So you need to understand that for every behavior, there are options. There are options the child would have chosen from. So for anytime the child chooses a particular option, it simply means there are options the child did not look at. So you want to understand, why did you not look at these options? Now, this is where it's important that the very first discipline you want to have with a child is to have a conversation, heart-to-heart conversation. Use open-ended questions. It is not lecturing. You want to sit down. You want to use empathy. You want to understand where the child is coming from. Because if you just assume, you will not understand where the child is coming from. And if you don't understand the child is coming from, imagine if a child is being pressured, you are just not going to be able to help the child solve that problem. The child may stop stealing from you, the parent. The child may go outside to steal. The child may even not go outside to steal. The child may look for another way to meet the demands of the people pressuring him or her. They may not say, okay, you are not stealing, go and sell drugs. Or if it's a girl, go and do prostitution or something. They will look for other ways. Now, you have not empowered your child to deal with the trigger, to deal with the motivation, to deal with the root cause. So the very first thing you want to do is to understand the root cause. Why is this child stealing? What is the motivation? What are the options the child had as against the choice the child made? Because for every choice we make, there is an alternative. So you want to ask the child, what are your alternatives, or what were your alternatives? I have a book, My Family Constitution. Is a book on consequences, a book on your family, just your family framework and everything. Now, it's one of the books we use in pack. I give them in pack for free. If you want to get it, is 2,000 naira. Now, we have consequences in the book, a great deal, I think about more than 50 behaviors and consequences that match. And one of the consequences we use is this reflection, where the child sits down. In fact, we have a reflection template for the child, where the child sits down and looks at his or her behavior, and then look at the alternative he or she had as against what the child picked, and then be able to ask herself, why didn't I use this alternative? Which means next time something happens, I'm likely going to use this alternative instead of the one I went for. You actually want to get the book. Is My Family Constitution. It's just 2,000 naira, and it is one of the finest books you can. It's one of the books you should get for your parenting, I tell you. So you want to help your child understand that for every behavior there are options, and every option has a consequence. You choose to steal because you are hungry, it has a consequence. You choose to go to the refuse dump to pick dirt and eat because you are hungry, it has a consequence of you being sick. You choose to go and beg, there is a consequence of begging. whatever consequence comes out of it. You choose to go hungry, there is also a consequence. So which of these consequences do you think you can handle? Which of these consequences do you think you can handle? So you want to actually empower your child to be able to make with the options they have, and empower them with the right skills to be able to pick the more appropriate option. That is the first thing you want to do. Understand the triggers, talk about the motivations, empower them. That's the first thing you want to do. I'm enjoying this class. I do hope you are. Now, the next thing you want to do, I think I've talked about the root cause, I've talked about constitution, the root cause, and I've talked about consequences. Now, the next thing you want to do is restitution. If your child steals, they must pay. That is the single discipline I recommend. They must pay. If your child steals something from a shop, they'll return it. If your child steals something from the classmate, they'll return it. They must pay. Now, remember I said when they get away with it, then they are likely going to do it again because they were not caught. So, hey, it's something they want to do again. So they must pay. Teach them restitution. If they take something from you, they must return it. If it's something they cannot return it, then look for a way for them to work, earn money, and pay for it. It's boundary. You don't have a right to break anybody's boundary. So whenever they break a person's boundary by taking what does not belong to them, by stealing, they must pay. Restitution is the next thing I'm sharing with you on how to help your child stop stealing. By the time your child pays, they learn that, hey, they are not going to take it again. And if you ask me, I always say they should pay more. They pay more. That will teach them a lesson that, okay, it's not something I want to do. They want to teach a lesson they want to learn from. So they must pay a bit more, if you ask me. But restitution is important for when a child steals. Now, the next one is for you to show proof. Yes, show proof of integrity. Show proof of living a life without stealing. Now, one of the things that is very common in today is we celebrating people living without integrity, making poor choices. They are being celebrated rather. You see people going to fraudsters, they are being celebrated, not celebrated. Even though we don't celebrate the process, we celebrate the proceeds. We don't celebrate the process per se, but we celebrate the proceeds from the process. So it now means that the means does not matter. It's the end that matters. So what you want to do is to show proof. If your kids are learning about 3 billion gang from fraud, from what's this guy's name, then you want to show proof that there are people who are making it legit. You want to show proof that these people making it hush puppy, 3 billion gang, hush puppy, the 3 billion gang is rotting in jail. Show proof that hush puppy is rotting in jail. Then show proof that someone else made this legitimately, and the person is enjoying his life. He's not rotting in jail. Show proof that Otedola is rocking. He's rented a yacht for his birthday, rocked it, and he had no fear. He didn't bat an eyelid because the money is legit. Show proof that hush puppy used the back door, used fraud, used stealing and all of that. Today he is rotting in jail. Show proof. Let them know that, okay, you want this thing, you can get this thing without stealing. There is a proof that people have gotten it without stealing and they enjoy it. Doing the right thing comes with freedom. When you don't steal, you are doing the right thing. When you make your money in a legit way, you have freedom, because doing the right thing naturally comes with freedom. But when you don't do the right thing, such as you stealing, you may rot away in jail. Your freedom will be taken away from you. Even if your freedom is not taken away from you, you cannot flaunt your worth so much, because you are afraid that, hey, someone may tell you. They may start investigating, finding out where you got your money from or something. So show proof. It's important to show proof. Show proof that stealing is not the right way to go. Look for real life stories of people who actually stole and they are paying for it. Look for real life stories of people to show. Look for real life stories of people who actually make money the legit way and they're actually enjoying it. Show that. Show proof. Show proof here. Show proof there. Show proof everywhere. Show proof. That is one of the things you can do, and constantly show proof. Then as an activity we are carrying out in PAC is, I call mine a proof wall, where we have proof we are showing to our children, because that is one of the ways to motivate them internally. Proof wall, I'm compiling mine, and before the end of this week, I'm sure going to create my wall. Proof wall, where you have proof you are showing to them. They are learning, they are seeing, yes, I can live my life without stealing. They learn from people. Oh, this person had contentment when he was a child. See how he has grown. See what he has been able to make out of his life. Show proof. Show proof. Again, you want to join PAC, really. You really want to join PAC, and so that we can all learn, grow together, and raise the children of our dreams. Show proof. Now, next thing you want to do is that, remember, it is the behavior you do not like. It's the stealing in your child you want to discourage, and not the child you want to condemn. So just don't hold back your love from your child. Now, the parents are the only ones that genuinely love their children unconditionally. The entire world has a condition for loving their children. But hey, when the child begins to misbehave, parents start feeling even reluctant to love them. So you actually want to not hold love from your child. You want to love your child despite the misbehavior. Because it is one of the things I always say to parents is that when you have a connection with your child, they don't want to offend you, they don't want to hurt you, because you have this bond with them, you have this connection with them. So don't stop loving them. Love them unconditionally. Create a connection with them, a bond with them. It will help them. I read somewhere, someone said when he was in school, he was smoking. One day he stopped smoking. Why did he stop smoking? He asked himself, if my mom walks in here and sees me smoking, what is she going to do? And then he told himself, my mom is going to die. And he said, I don't want my mom to die. And that was how he stopped smoking. Not because they took him for deliverance, not because anyone cajoled him, someone motivated him, or no. He stopped smoking simply because he did not want his mom to die. So such is the power of influence, connection with your children. You have connection with your children, you are able to influence them, whether you are there or not. I have people that have said, oh, if my mom hears this, she will not like it at all. No, my mom, no, my dad. Because of that, they want to live certain lives. So you don't want to stop loving your child because your child is misbehaving, or your child stole, or your child is stealing. You actually want to do more with love. You want to surprise them by loving them genuinely. By loving them, you want to surprise them by complimenting their good factors. You want to surprise them by talking about the good qualities they have. You know, the more you talk about their good quality, the more you may love them, the more you appreciate them, the more they are going to drop the other habits that you do not like. So you want to keep loving them. Now, lastly, I hope I've exhausted everything. If it becomes a habit, is repeated, you want to send them for counseling. You want to get role models for them. You want to get mentors for them. You want to send them for counseling, send them for therapy. Have professionals look at them and talk to them. Have them get mentors to mentor them. Have them get role models to look up to. Just create a professional system that will help them. It's not the yelling, it's not the smacking, it's not all that drama. But just create a professional environment, professional atmosphere, professional system, create it around them that can actually help them. Like I said, get them into counseling, get them teen mentors or preteen mentors or anyone. I have some, in case you want a teen mentor, a preteen mentor, I have some that can easily refer you to. If you have a preteen or a teenager who is stealing and is becoming habitual, you actually want them to modify the behavior, you want them to unlearn the behavior, you want to use the services of a teen mentor, a teen counselor, you want to reach me, just leave it in the comment section that, can I have your number in the comment section, or you can look for my previous post. I think there are some videos I made in the past, I have my number there. You can even see, I think my WhatsApp link in my bio or something. You can use it to reach me, and I'll link you up with amazing counselors who can help walk your child through this journey and help you and partner with you to raise amazing children. Again, I want to invite you to join PAC, to come to Parenting Accountability Community. It's a community you want to be. If I am not doing anything for you, I am inviting you. It's something. So if you followed me for a while, if you got value here, then you can imagine what we do in PAC, really, because it's not everything, because PAC is a paid group. So hey, We give more value in our paid community than we give here or anywhere else. So you definitely want to join Pack so that we can learn and grow together. And also, again, you want to subscribe, you want to comment, you want to share, you want to like, you want to invite your friends. Tell them about parenting with Enimien Oruebor, and I am Enimien Oruebor. You want to tell them about parenting with Enimien Oruebor so that we can all do parenting together from an aspect, from an angle of parenting with a vision. Thank you so much for doing this with me today. I greatly appreciate you. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.